show that my child used to watch when they were really little. They're 10 now. It's kind of the precursor to the very cute Bluey. I don't know if you guys know about Bluey. It's an Australian show that all the kids are very into. But this show is called Puff and Rock. And there's this episode that I always think about St. Francis, and I always think about creation when I watched it. And the episode is called The Dawn Chorus. And there's this Irish puffin and star of the show named Una, and she's preparing to sing along with all the other animals of the island that she lives on. It's a little tiny island in the Irish Sea. She's about to sing with the dawn chorus with all the animals for the first time. But she can't sleep because she's so nervous about getting it right. So her mother, Mama Puffin, takes her out of the nest and out onto the island to help her find her voice. And the night is not so quiet, she discovers. She wants it to be quiet, right? But she finds that the wind has its own song. So do the frogs, which end up croaking along with her as she starts to sing into the night. And the words she sings are, let's sing along with the blowing wind. It's like moonlight in the night. But the frogs become really distracting, and so Una and her mother look for another place, a quieter place. They enter into a sea cave, but of course, this place has its own song too. So Una sings, let's sing along in the echoing cave, and the drips and the blips of the not-so-still cave start to chime along with her. So Una has this aha moment, that the music of creation is all around her, but also in her. She then finds her confidence and is finally ready to get back to bed, back to sleep, before waking for the dawn chorus. By sunrise, something really lovely has happened. The creatures of Puff and Rock, the seas and the gulls, the crabs, there's pygmy shrews, and of course the puffins, they all make their way to the shore and they begin to sing as the glowing orange orb of the sun rises above a sparkling blue sea. And they sing this song. Let's sing along with all our friends as we welcome a new day. It's a very catchy little song. I'm not going to sing it because then it'll get stuck in your head. Of course, though, this is a cartoon. It's so sweet. It's so lovely. All these animals in literal harmony. That's not real, right? I don't know which of you are birders. I know there's some at 10 a.m., but the birders in the room will know that the dawn chorus is actually quite real. If you've ever been outside during a sunrise, maybe camping or in the first week of your new running plan, I've been there, you heard the song offered by the birds to the new day. It swells as the light grows brighter, as if they're being conducted by the rising sun. It really sounds as if the creatures of the earth are praising the Creator each morning in song together. They don't slump around waiting for their coffee, put on shirts that say something like, "Don't talk to me," unless I've had my third cup of coffee or something like that. The creatures of the earth just know how to be together. They know how to wake each morning and how to still each night. Jesus tells his followers, us included, not to worry so much about the outcomes of our lives. God has that taken care of already. He tells us, he points to the lilies and the ravens and blades of grass, each dependent upon their Creator and each a reflection of the glory of God. The dogs and the cats and the fish and the birds, which we so often call ours, are not actually ours, are they? Fellow travelers in this life on earth, and they too, like us, reflect the glory of God. Our lives with our beloved pets are an opportunity for us to recall our relationship with the natural world, a natural world that produces something like a dawn chorus. See, we must be in relationship to nature no matter how much we try to deny our reliance upon it. We cannot be separate from it. In Francis of Assisi's time, who we celebrate today, in the late 12th century, I think that no one could have imagined that about 800 years later, we would be living in climate-controlled homes, drive in climate-controlled cars, and eat food transported to us from across the globe in climate-controlled ships and trains and planes and trucks. Now, I am well aware of the importance of AC and heat. I mean, we've been here together in the middle of the summer, right? I'm well aware of the importance of AC and heat and even of a global food trade. But I do think that on a day when we commemorate Francis of Assisi and all of creation, it is our relationships with people and planet that we are called to remember and invited to wonder about how we can do better to be less isolated from this world we live in. Because we live so much of our lives in isolation, off singing on our own, forgetting that we are meant to sing together in a chorus of joyful praise with one another, and not just with our fellow humans, but also with our pets, also with the whole planet. So that is why a day like today, this feast of Francis of Assisi, a celebration of all creation, is so important. It's not just cute and fun. It's actually quite central to our faith. There's a line in Lesser Feast and Fast, that's a liturgical resource in the Episcopal Church that has the readings for St. Francis of Assisi and the collects and all of that. And it says, Francis of Assisi is perhaps the most popular and admired, but probably the least imitated of all the saints. Few have attained to his total identification with the poverty and suffering of Christ. See, Francis was the son of a rich merchant living in a time of increasing wealth and opulence in Western Europe, the church included. If it was not even central to driving this amassing of money and power, it was part and parcel of it. And when he returned home from fighting in the Crusades, Francis, through encounters with the poor, began to see Jesus' own suffering reflected in them. He began to understand that the life that he had been living was one in isolation. And as an extraordinarily wealthy person with little to worry about, his life was really lived as over and above others. Long story short, he gave away all of his money. He founded an order that relied solely on others for their food, money, and shelter, and they became beggars themselves. At the same time, he took on the poverty of Christ, the humility of Christ. Francis encountered in nature the absolute glory of God. See, that is what I find so special about Francis. He saw and experienced a life of humility as one in concert with all of creation. Just consider the Canticle of the Creatures, which is attributed to him, where he names moon and sun and wind and water, and even death as siblings in praise of God. There is massive joy in his humility, just like the lily and the raven and the blade of grass and the birds. There is much to learn from our fellow inhabitants of the earth. Nature has a wisdom we often like to ignore because of our own needs and purposes. But certain humility, which Francis of Assisi shows us, is required by us, the faithful. We are to allow all of creation to teach us, to impart on us its wisdom, to enfold us, human beings, as siblings, as friends, with whom we must sing along to welcome each new day. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.